What's going on, YouTube? This is Sports Gaming 1, and the time has finally come for us to start looking at the team-by-team rosters on NCAA Football 19. Of course, these are the updated rosters for the 2018 season on NCAA Football 14. We call it NCAA Football 19 just because that kind of shows you that it's new rosters. I'm going to be doing some things also with the game to kind of improve it with custom stadium sounds and things like that, where I'm going to show you guys how to do it, exactly what to do things like that. So that's coming in the not too distant future. But we begin here by looking at the rosters, and we're just doing the starters so far. I've only got the starters done. You know, we try to have maybe 2 running backs on there, and you know, there are certain positions where we're going to have a backup on there as well, depending on the team also, so that could change. And how you guys can help with this is head on over to sportscreators.com. There'll be a link there. You'll see it on the homepage to the rosters. And for each team, you'll be able to comment on the rosters and help me out on, you know, players that transfer, things that maybe are wrong on the rosters, and you'll see the depth chart, the players that we've edited so far on that page. You'll be able to click on each team, and again, anybody can leave a comment. You don't have to make an account or anything like that. With any suggestions you have for the roster, maybe if you have a 40 time for a guy that his speed needs to be bumped up or something like that, you can do that all on the website. So please help me out, help me get these rosters as accurate as possible, and I would really appreciate it. So make sure you do that. Again, sportscreators.com. I'll put a link down in the description below. All right, so we begin with the quarterback position. You see Tua Tagovailoa, a 94 overall, Jalen Hurts, a 91. Those are the only 2 players we did here. And you know, some people think maybe Tua, maybe I've got him too high. Maybe because he hasn't played through a whole season, maybe this rating is too high. But you know, I think you can go off of the stats. He had enough playing time to where you can use his stats to calculate an overall rating. And if he plays the way he played the national championship, I think 94 is very fair. But if he goes out there and struggles early in the season, obviously I'll be bringing his rating down based off of his stats. So again, you see these 2 guys right here. Also, I saw some complaints about the speed for Tagovailoa at 72, but that's all based off of 40 time, and his 40 time that I found was like 4.7 something, or maybe something like that. So that's not going to be a great speed when your 40 time is that low. But you see his agility 88, acceleration 94, so he's still going to be very quick in the pocket, and he's going to be a good runner, even though his top end speed maybe isn't quite as high. So we're going to go position by position now to running back. We did 3 for them. We did Damien Harris, 97, Joshua Jacobs, 93, and Najee Harris, an 88. And you've already seen the quarterbacks and running backs because I did those, you know, each conference I already showed those. So let's go ahead now and skip on to fullbacks. We didn't do fullbacks, so just ignore that. I'll be doing them later, hopefully. And I only was able to do 3 receivers for Alabama. Henry Ruggs, an 88. Devontae Smith, an 87, and Jerry Jeudy, an 85. Ignore the other 2 because I haven't done anything on their ratings yet. I will have to figure something out for them because they just didn't have the stats. I've got a formula that I'm working on for players based off of their recruiting rating. So that's probably what I'm going to be doing. That's what they do over on Operation Sports. I'd actually use that for all their rosters pretty much, even the guys that have played. But there you go. As you see, these are pretty good receivers, these top 3 guys. Nobody's over 90, but they're all, you know, upper to mid 80s. Tight end, we've got Hal Hinches, an 83, and then Irv Smith Jr., an 81. I did both of those guys, so we did 2 tight ends for Alabama, and they're pretty good there. They're not great. Offensive line, and this is tough to do. I use the 24/7 recruiting rating. I use if they're an All-American, All-Conference, they get a boost for that. If they started last season and the team was a really good run team, they get a little bit of a boost in their run blocking, things like that. It's complicated. All the ratings that I use, the formulas I use are very complicated. It's hard for me to even explain, but it works out pretty well. So you see Jonah Williams, a 96 overall. I think he maybe was an All-American or something, so that's why you're going to see his rating that high, because it's impossible to judge offensive linemen. You don't have any stats. Ross Piercebaker, an 84. Brandon Kennedy is 73. They're not great on the offensive line. Lester Cotton, an 85, pretty solid. And then at right tackle, Matt Womack, a 79. So, you know, this is not a dominant offensive line. They're pretty good. They're pretty good, but they're not going to be great. And you're going to see the offensive linemen, you're going to see their ratings be a little bit lower than maybe some other positions, just because that's how the scale comes out. So that's just the way it is. But I think it works out pretty well in the game. We go to defense now. Isaiah Buggs, an 81 overall. And then RAEKWON Davis, an 85. And we're going to go defensive tackle. And you're only going to see Johnny Dwight as the starter at an 89, because they play, the 3-4. So you'll have 4 starting linebackers, 3 starting defensive linemen. And I think that's all I did. So that's why we only have 1 defensive tackle. If our team plays the 4-3, I'll have 2 defensive tackles done to make sure their starters are done. And again, that's step 1 is really just to get the starters done. We move on to linebacker, Christian Miller, an 83. I think I did Terrell Lewis as well. He's also an 83. Remember, they lost a lot of their best players on defense. Dylan Moses, he's pretty solid there at 90. Mack Wilson, pretty good as well at 89. And I believe Mack Wilson, the second middle linebacker, is the one that will start on the game in the 3-4. So he will actually be a starter. And then Keith Holcomb there as well at an 88. So they're pretty good at middle linebacker. Right outside linebacker, ANFERNEE Jennings, an 89. So he is pretty solid as well. So this is, what you would expect to see out of Alabama. Really good linebackers. So it plays out pretty well. Now, they did lose every starter in the secondary. So if you see these numbers down a little bit, it's just because they don't have the stats. And again, I use stats for all these ratings. So, we have to give them a boost at some point. But let's go ahead and get right to it. First at cornerback, you see SHYHEIM Carter, an 83. Trayvon Diggs, an 82. And NIGEL KNOTT, an 80. I did all 3 of those because, and I'm not 100% sure on this. I need to double check it, but I'm almost positive the number 3 cornerback is the nickel back on the game. So when you're in the nickel and you have 5 defensive backs, that is who comes into the game. So we have to make sure we get 3 cornerbacks done for each team. And then you go to safety here. Jared Maiden, an 85. We also did Deontay Thompson, 83. So they're not bad in the secondary. You're just not seeing it, anywhere near as good as they were last season. Xavier McKinney, an 82. And I think I did Daniel Wright as well, 81. So we've actually done a lot of their depth in the secondary already. And also, I haven't done kickers. I haven't done punters. I haven't done kick returners. I haven't, slotted those in there yet. We'll wait till the spring to see where, where they have guys playing, because I don't know who's going to return kicks. But we'll figure that out later. Again, this is just step 1 of these rosters, just kind of getting something started and doing some testing. And then we will go through and we will adjust things once teams get in the spring and you see kind of how the depth chart might look. Let's just go through it. I'll show you who the best players on the team are, and ignore the XX. Those are players that are gone. You can see that was probably Minkah Fitzpatrick and Calvin Ridley. Best player is Damien Harris. He is a 97. Jonah Williams is their next best player. Tagovailoa next. Josh Jacobs, Jalen Hurts. So they don't really have a ton of 90-plus players like you would expect. And that's because those guys, you see all the X's here, have moved on to the NFL or they've graduated. So, missing those guys, it's a little deceiving because Alabama's going to be really good. They always are. But at this point, based off of the stats from last year, these are the ratings we come out with. And again, after we go through the spring, I may give some of these younger players a little bit of a boost if they are really impressive going through the spring. So that's just something we'll be adjusting as we go through, even through the summer, and get into the preseason and hopefully have these kind of finalized for the start of the college football season. So that's a very early look at the Alabama roster. Again, we are breaking them down over on the SG1 Sports channel, showing you the players leaving and showing you a preview of their schedule for 2018. So make sure you head over to that channel and subscribe while you're there. If you want to see this roster in action, we've got Alabama versus Clemson. There is a simulation of that game here on this channel. So just head over to the channel and search for it. I think it might actually be on the home page of the channel. So you can see how these rosters play out on the game. and see a potential preview of the national championship, Alabama versus Clemson. So again, you can check that out if you'd like. But that's going to do it for our Alabama roster preview. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the Sports Gaming 1 YouTube channel.